Hello, hi, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be talking about the living dead. Let's go. Hello, this is Rafa. Welcome to another page in my homesteading diary. About 4 or 5 years ago, I purchased a lemon tree and an orange tree, and they never produced. One year, the lemon tree did flower. Actually, both of them flowered that year, but the flowers dropped off or they were eaten by bugs. I don't know. I looked out one day and was happy to see flowers, and a couple of days later, there were none. I never got any fruit off of those two trees. Then it came to my attention that I had planted them in the ground, and a master gardener that I'm friends with told me that in our zone, that the citrus trees do better in containers than in the ground, especially in our county. So I left them in the ground. I said, well, they're in the ground now, so if nothing else, they'll just be two little shrubs that I have in my yard because they never got more than about 4 feet tall. Now, let's fast forward to this year. We had 2 big freezes that came in unexpectedly while those 2 trees were yet in the ground. Now, after those freezes, I thought I saw signs of life, so I decided to dig them up and transplant them into containers where I thought they were doing very well, but turns out the freeze had affected them after all. Tree number 1. This is the orange tree. And let's take a look for any signs of life, which you could look at this and already tell there will be none. Nope, totally brown there. Totally brown there. Nice and crispy there. This tree is dead. This is the lemon tree. See all the green coming from this lemon tree? I thought that meant that the tree was doing very well. It's actually a sign that the tree has been taken over, and it is in fact dead, just like the orange tree. Let's take a look. Well, we knew that was going to look like that. No sign of green. So here are a few things that I have learned. One is that most of the fruit trees that we purchase have been grafted. Some exceptions might be the pomegranate, might be the fig tree, and I don't know, there might be a few other exceptions out there as well. But for the most part, the trees that we purchase have been grafted. And what we then have is a rootstock, and then we have what is called a scion. That is the part that's grafted in. And if you look closely, you can usually tell where the grafting has taken place. So let's see if we can identify where the grafting may have taken place on this tree. Most likely on this tree, the grafting took place here or here. Whenever you see suckers coming out from this part, which is the rootstock, you are not dealing with a tree that's going to produce what you want. Anything that is produced fruit-wise from these suckers is not going to be true to what was on the Scion. Now, another way that you could tell that you're dealing with rootstock and not that fruit tree that you purchased is that it will have leaves growing in threes. That's the number one telltale sign that you are dealing with the rootstock and not the tree, not the fruit tree that you wanted. Clusters of 3 is how the leaves will be growing. Okay? Clusters of 3. See that? Another telltale sign is that there will be a lot of thorns, especially long thorns. Okay? Lots of long thorns. Now, the Scion might have thorns as well, but the rootstock is going to have an abundance of thorns or very long thorns. Now, some trees, depending on the variety, will have thorns as well, but that's just one way that you could keep in mind. Whenever you see a sucker coming out from the rootstock, you want to eliminate it as soon as possible. Because it will take over the tree eventually and kill off the Scion, and you won't even notice because it'll look green and healthy and it will produce fruit, but it will not be the fruit that you want. When you're dealing with fruit trees and suckers, rootstocks, scions, the fruit that produces from the rootstock suckers will be literally strange fruit. Why do people graft fruit trees? Because if you grow a fruit tree from seed, the fruit is going to be bitter, unpleasant. It's not going to be what we are used to. The only way to get a pleasant tasting fruit is if you grow it from a branch that has already produced the fruit that you like. So if you've ever tasted an orange, purchased an orange from somewhere and it was very bitter, chances are that orange came from a tree that was grown from the seed and not from the branch. So they grafted onto another tree that's in the same family, another citrus tree. That rootstock that they grafted onto just provides the root system to get the nourishment and nutrients up into the part that you're grafting onto. When you have the fruit that comes from the rootstock, it's going to maybe have an abundance of seeds in it, or it's going to taste bitter, or the appearance is going to look different from what you originally planted. It may have a wrinkly skin, or might be a different color, or it might just look totally different than the original fruit that you had growing on that tree. Those suckers will eventually overtake the Scion, and it will cause it to die off. And then you'll have a whole tree with multiple trunks. It'll look like it has multiple trunks that will eventually get very big. And you will think you still have your fruit tree, but in fact, you have a strange fruit tree. If you go and look at any of your fruit trees right now, you should be able to notice where the grafting took place. What is the rootstock and what is the Scion? It's important to identify that, I've come to learn, because then any suckers that grow below the grafting line, you need to eliminate, because they are very vigorous and aggressive and they will take over. So look at your fruit trees, find that line of determination, and keep a watchful eye to remove any suckers that show up. Wherever the tree has been grafted will usually have a diagonal line or a bump, or it's going to be discolored, or the texture is going to be different. You should be able to know. The older the tree is, the harder it is to identify, but there's always some kind of telltale sign. Those two citrus trees, unfortunately, I never got anything from them fruit-wise. They were visually appealing in that they were green for 4 or 5 years, but outside of just looking like trees, I never got to enjoy the tender fruit. And it's a sour, bitter experience that came to a bitter end. Always look for the good in life. And the good for me is replacing what I lost. So here I have this variegated lemon tree. As you can see, it has some thorns, but not nearly as much as that rootstock that I had looked at before. It's doing well. I planted it a couple of weeks ago. It's doing nicely. That's what the fruit will look like. Hopefully. I have every faith that this tree will do splendidly. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, go on and like it. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and share it with someone who might need to know about their fruit trees. Also, don't forget to leave comments down in the comment section if you have any advice, any testimonials, or any questions. Leave it down in the comment section. Let's have a little discourse about it.
This channel promotes the goodness in life. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And above all, prosper and be in good health.